What's going on, y'all? Peace and blessings. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you're doing good. Hope everything is going smooth. You feel me? I don't know. I was gonna talk about something like political again. You feel me? Because I've been seeing a lot of shit that has it's just been bothering me. You feel me? But the game of politics is like a game of chess. You don't know where it's headed. You feel me? Like, we're seeing all these pawns falling down, and people are just trying to play smart. You feel me? Like, everybody's protecting their own right now with just everything going on, like geopolitically, with like all the clashing right now in the Middle East, and Trump threatening Iran, saying that we about to bomb y'all if y'all don't stop playing around. So it's a lot of pushing and shoving right now, and it's just we're getting closer and closer to the bubble popping. And a lot of people be messaging me, well, not a lot of people, but a few people would be like, bro, what do you mean by the bubble popping? You always bring about this bubble, but I just said bubble butt. But anyways, this bubble could mean anything to y'all. But what I'm talking about in regards to this bubble, it represents the awakening. You feel me? I feel like a lot of people are sleeping right now. A lot of people don't want to accept the truth because they know that it's going to bring a lot of anxiety into their life. And, people are already struggling. And when people hear about the world crashing and, a recession being right around the corner, people don't want to think about that because they got children, you feel me? They got bills they got to pay, and they're barely making month's rent and all that. So I understand why people get a little annoyed with my podcast, because I'm always like adding to that fear. For real, just like look around. It's not hard to see that something is really wrong with the world. There's so much pain, so much confusion, hella people hurting each other, brothers killing brothers. Evil don't discriminate, you feel me? It comes in all shapes and sizes. Like, the thing that kind of like bothers me a little bit is that there's so many people who are too steady focusing on chasing money, fame, pleasure, and all that. But deep down, we all know it's poisoning, like the whole purpose of my podcast is never to go viral, never go famous, nothing like that. Like, I don't really care about the money, although the money is nice, you feel me? But at the end of the day, it's about purpose, you feel me? And becoming your greatest self through communication. Like, I'm a communication major, and I truly value the power between words, the things that linger between the words that we don't even see. We just think it's just sound, but there's so much energy carried within this sound. So that's why, my whole Instagram and my poetry always preach voice is power, because it's a God-given thing. You feel me? If you got a voice, why not use it? I lost my voice. So back to this evil. Evil doesn't really show up in, these ambiguous costumes and stuff like that. Sometimes it can be about forgetting who we are, because evil really wants us to forget our purpose on this planet and wants us to forget what we should be doing on a daily basis, you feel me? Because I feel like we are being pushed away from being human to being a person. So if you look at the word person, it really comes back down to the persona. It's like masks that we put on, you feel me? We're not really trying to be ourselves. We're being somebody that society is pushing us to be, you feel me? So that's why I did a podcast like, I think last week about being yourself, not forgetting who we are and digging deep and all that shit.
And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. As you hold on to that dream, there are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's very important for you to know that. Don't say I'm having a bad day. Say I'm having a character building day.
Anyways, evil wants us to believe that we're just animals, that life has no meaning and that we're always chasing that short-term pleasure, you feel me? Like, we like to delay long-term success for temporary pleasure, you feel me? And I feel like that's what evil does. Evil wants you to forget about your future and only focus on the feeling of the present moment. And I do preach a lot that the present moment is precious. You know, we do want to be tapped into the present moment, but we don't want to be too distracted on it, you feel me? Because it makes us forget about the bigger picture. A lot of motivational speakers and a lot of like philosophers who dedicated their whole life, you know what I'm saying, like researching what it means to be human. A lot of them come to the conclusion that we can't control the world, you know what I'm saying, but we can control our minds and we can choose our own actions. We can choose what we want to believe and what we don't want to believe, you feel me? We can choose courage over fear, discipline over laziness, patience over anger, you know? And I just want to emphasize that having patience is probably the most powerful thing that a human can do. Because we always want that instant gratification, that instant, you know, reward. But patience really shows you that things that are delayed are usually most often more precious, you know, they're more everlasting and all that. Our souls were made to connect with this creator, to build, to love, to grow. So today I'm just asking you to start that fight, you feel me? If you are down, you know, in life and you feel like you got nothing else to live for, I just want to say that when you start digging within yourself, that's where you find God. I feel before you can connect with yourself, before you connect with God, there is something very important that we need to do. There's something that lingers in our silence, you feel me? In the darkness and in our, you know, most craziest of thoughts. It's that guilt, that regret, and that shame. Like I did a poem the other day titled, you know, Regret Don't Sleep, and it really don't. And it was so important to me to make that poem because I'm still trying to learn how to get rid of regret, you know, all my past mistakes, you feel me? Like it's really hard to move on knowing that, you know, I burned bridges and I did things that I wish I didn't do, and you know, this and that, all that crazy shit. But anyways.
Oh, this? That's my credo. No regrets.
The truth is, some of us can't fight evil outside because, you know, we have all these battles within ourselves that we have to fight first, you feel me? Like, how can we find peace outside when we got freaking chaos going on inside? It just don't make no sense. I don't know, because I feel like, again, like all we think about are all the hours that we wasted, you feel me? Again, the people we hurt, the promises we broke, the time we spent away from our family and the people who really mean a lot to us for temporary satisfaction and all that crazy shit. Like, you know, I'm not saying it's bad to have an outside life, you feel me? Like, you gotta do you. Sometimes you gotta be away from people, you know? You gotta, like, enjoy, you know, the fruits of this world. But we spend too many hours doing that, and we forget to look in the mirror and see a version of ourselves that we've been ignoring, you know? That person in the mirror that we disregard, you know? We feel that we are just too broken to fix. Like, that's a lie, you feel me? That's what society is programming you to feel. You are not your past. You are not your worst enemy. You are not your lowest moment, you know? Like, forgiveness is so freaking important, and forgiveness is not just something you give to others, but it's something that we have to give to ourselves first. You know, you guys always hear that example in planes when the plane is crashing and all the oxygen things fall down. They always tell people to like get your oxygen on first before you can help others. And that's how I see forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself before you can forgive others, you know? I feel like a lot of people feel that God only loves those who are perfect, but like, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that's a lie, but you know, God loves regardless of whatever you hide in your heart, you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you feel that he's there and you love him, he's gonna love you back, you know? He's waiting for you to return.